The story begins with Chen Xiaozhou, who has been in a coma for 2 years due to malpractice by an unlicensed doctor. His best friend, Lu Yiding, sits beside him, shedding tears. It was revealed that Xiaozhou fell into a coma after breaking up with his girlfriend, a woman who left him because he had no job and spent much of his money on cigarettes. Feeling frustrated and depressed from not being understood, Xiaozhou decided to quit smoking for the sake of his ex, though all his efforts went in vain. As a supportive friend, Yiding suggested that Xiaozhou try brain shock therapy to address his memory loss and addiction. Desperate for a solution, Xiaozhou agreed to the seemingly absurd idea. After 2 years in a coma, Yiding apologized to Xiaozhou for suggesting the therapy. However, Xiaozhou responded calmly, expressing gratitude for still being able to wake up. A nurse then entered the room, bringing a yellow-colored medicine for Xiaozhou. Without hesitation, Xiaozhou took the medication. But something strange happened afterward. The next day, during a follow-up examination, the doctor discovered brain damage that would require a long recovery period. Not only that, the doctor advised Yiding to continue supporting Xiaozhou during his rehabilitation. A year passed, and Xiaozhou began experiencing unusual symptoms. He started seeing humans transform into ducks whenever he looked at something yellow. To cope with this, Xiaozhou bought red glasses so everything would appear red. Fortunately, after the rehabilitation, Xiaozhou has secured a job. One day, the CEO of the company, Xijin, approached Xiaozhou with an unexpected offer to take over the CEO position. Xiaozhou was shocked, considering he had only been working for a year. However, Xijin explained that Xiaozhou's contributions had been significant, and the company was preparing for a major project. As a result, Xijin wanted to entrust the company to a younger and braver generation. At that moment, Xiaozhou felt thrilled because this opportunity proved he was no longer underestimated. However, he also worried about his condition. Every time he saw the color yellow, people around him turned into ducks, complete with quacking sounds. In the end, Xiaozhou began questioning how he could lead a company while dealing with such an unusual problem. On his way home, Yiding congratulated Xiaozhou on the promotion. But Xiaozhou explained that it wasn't official yet, as he still had doubts, especially since Yiding already knew about his strange condition. Jokingly, Yiding reassured him that every challenge has a solution. To help Xiaozhou practice leadership, Yiding offered him a project to manage. The next morning, Xiaozhou arrived at an apartment complex. There, Yiding explained that he had an advertising team he couldn't supervise for the time being. As leadership training, Yiding entrusted the team to Xiaozhou. The team included Feng Jianan, the manager and lead talent, Heijin, the scriptwriter, Han, Jianan's assistant, Taeyang, the cameraman, and Kyungsu, the editor. In the end, Yiding expressed hope that Xiaozhou could represent him well. That day, the team was filming a cooking content. Heijin explained that this type of content was a favorite among viewers because Jianan's cooking was famously delicious. While Xiaozhou was on set, he was asked to taste Jianan's dish. Unexpectedly, his reaction turned out to be so entertaining that it quickly went viral. At that moment, Jianan also complimented Xiaozhou's expressive face, and the team decided to continue with the concept of reaction-based cooking content. Although feeling annoyed and tricked, Xiaozhou tried calling Yiding several times. However, Yiding kept rejecting his calls. Despite this, Xiaozhou maintained his professionalism and attended the next filming session. As Xiaozhou was about to enter the set, a delivery worker in a yellow jacket passed by, triggering his condition. However, when Jianan approached him, something unusual happened. His hallucinations suddenly disappeared, and everything returned to normal. Xiaozhou was confused as to why Jianan didn't turn into a duck like others. Inside the set, Xiaozhou also noticed a yellow duck statue resembling his hallucinations. But this time, he didn't experience his usual symptoms. All day, Xiaozhou was lost in thought, trying to make sense of it. After the shoot, Jianan offered Xiaozhou a ride home. On the way, they shared lighthearted stories and laughter, making the evening feel warm and enjoyable. In the end, Xiaozhou found himself growing more drawn to Jianan. The next morning, filled with frustration, Xiaozhou confronted Yiding. He vented his anger and accused Yiding of setting him up. Xiaozhou questioned how Ding could do something so unfair. Calmly, Ding explained that everything was done for Xiaozhou's benefit, to help him train to be a CEO. However, Ding eventually revealed the real reason was to set Xiaozhou up with Jianan. After hearing the explanation, Xiaozhou immediately asked Jianan out for dinner. The place wasn't fancy, just a simple spot. There, Xiaozhou wanted to confirm if his hallucinations had truly disappeared. It turned out that his hallucinations did not occur when he was with Jianan. Even when Jianan returned to his side, his condition remained normal. This made Xiaozhou even more certain that Jianan was the key to his recovery. Not long after, Xiaozhou began to believe that Jianan was his destiny. He spent more time with her and the team, sharing laughter, jokes, and joyful moments. Jianan's laughter, in particular, became the most comforting sound to Xiaozhou. Over time, Xiaozhou grew more confident in facing his condition and no longer feared the duck hallucinations. For Xiaozhou, each day felt brighter with the chance to see Jianan. One night, Ding was seen meeting Jianan on a quiet street. Xiaozhou wasn't aware of their conversation, but the meeting seemed to affect Jianan deeply. She became more emotional, her expressions filled with longing and warmth. Even when Xiaozhou cooked a bowl of noodles for her, Jianan suddenly began to shed tears. When Xiaozhou asked if the food was too spicy, Jianan denied it, saying the dish was delicious. With a hint of pride, Xiaozhou explained that the recipe was a secret he had learned from someone very special in his life. That day, Xiaozhou and Jianan spent time together watching a romantic movie that felt like a real-life date. At one moment, with a shy tone, Jianan asked if Xiaozhou dared to kiss her. Her question made Xiaozhou's heart race. He felt it might be too soon, but he didn't want to miss the chance to kiss the woman he admired. However, it turned out that Jianan was only joking, leaving Xiaozhou to deal with his embarrassment and disappointment. Several days passed, and it seemed that the entire team now considered Xiaozhou a part of their agency. On this particular day, they were scheduled to film at a school. Unexpectedly, the school turned out to be the alma mater of both Xiaozhou and Jianan. Upon arriving, Heijin commented that the location was quite aesthetic and mentioned that the choice of this school was a direct request from Jianan. Hearing this, Xiaozhou felt both delighted and curious, trying to recall if he had known Jianan during their time at the school. The filming began, but Xiaozhou struggled to memorize the script. Jianan reminded him a few times to act more naturally and not to be too focused on the lines. Taking her advice, Xiaozhou started acting without overthinking the prepared text. In one scene, Xiaozhou was asked to tell a joke about a monkey and a cow. At that moment, Jianan seemed to genuinely enjoy the atmosphere of the shoot that evening. Not only that, the scene also appeared to hold a deeper meaning for Jianan, bringing back certain memories in her mind. After Xiaozhou completed his part, the entire team congratulated him. Overwhelmed by her feelings, Jianan excused herself and stepped away to the back. Fortunately, Xiaozhou's experience with the agency gave him the confidence to accept Xijin's offer. Xiaozhou no longer felt fear, hesitation, or doubt about his life. In front of all the employees, Xiaozhou delivered a speech. Although some of them appeared as ducks due to his hallucinations, the encouragement and support from Jianan remained his greatest source of strength. Her presence had given him the courage to face anything, even the seemingly impossible. In his speech, Xiaozhou praised Xijin as an extraordinary CEO for leading the company to the height of success. However, Xiaozhou declared that under his leadership, the company would reach a level even higher than the current peak. Xiaozhou then celebrated his success with Jianan's agency team. Everyone rejoiced over his accomplishment. However, amidst the joyous evening, Jianan seemed unusually quiet. During the celebration, Heijin stood up and announced that Jianan had something to say. As the room fell silent, Jianan revealed her decision to leave. She explained that she had been with the team for 3 years, and she believed that 3 years was enough. Jianan wanted to seek new challenges beyond the team. The sudden announcement left Xiaozhou confused, but he felt it wasn't his place to question or influence her decision. That night, Jianan expressed her gratitude to Xiaozhou for becoming part of the team and helping them achieve remarkable milestones. With a glass of wine in hand, they exchanged glances, as though this was an emotional farewell. However, Jianan seemed contemplative, giving the impression that this parting wasn't just about leaving the team, but also about leaving someone she deeply loved. 2 months had passed since Jianan's departure, and Xiaozhou began taking full responsibility for the agency's team. All advertising projects from his office were now handled by the team. However, one day, Xiaozhou seemed to realize something profound. The familiar habits that had once felt so natural were now absent from his life. While holding a toy duck in his hand, memories started flooding back to him. At that moment, Xiaozhou finally understood that Jianan was his ex-girlfriend, someone he had loved deeply in the past. Xiaozhou came to the realization that, for the past 3 years, he had been suffering from memory loss. The hallucinations of ducks he experienced were caused by trauma and brain damage from a certain incident. A significant portion of his memories, especially those involving Jianan, had been erased. All the interactions between Xiaozhou and Jianan in recent months turned out to be fragments of their shared past. From drinking together before shoots, to Xiaozhou's favorite ramen, to filming scenes at their school, each moment was a reflection of their history. In the past, Xiaozhou had been a quiet student with few friends, often feeling lonely. On the night of their graduation, he accidentally found Jianan sitting alone on the school rooftop. Feeling concerned, Xiaozhou approached her and asked what she was doing there. Although Jianan didn't answer immediately, Xiaozhou tried to lighten the mood by telling a joke about a monkey and a cow. Slowly, Jianan opened up and responded to him. The next morning, when Jianan seemed to have trouble getting home, Xiaozhou offered her a ride. From that moment, their bond grew closer. Their days were filled with laughter and happiness. They even dreamed of becoming famous YouTubers and vloggers together. However, their journey wasn't always smooth. Xiaozhou, often stressed and exhausted from work, started smoking as an outlet. The habit worsened to the point where he couldn't be without a cigarette, even while sleeping. One day, this led to a major argument when Jianan got angry after Xiaozhou burned their mattress with cigarette ash. The argument escalated when Xiaozhou, fueled by his own frustration, retorted that his smoking was his own business and not Jianan's responsibility. He also accused Jianan of never listening to his complaints. What Xiaozhou didn't realize was that Jianan had always waited for him to come home, hoping he would share his struggles and involve her in his life. Instead, Xiaozhou spent his time seeking distractions, indulging in drinking, smoking, gambling, and aimless fun. Until one day, Jianan could no longer tolerate the situation. Firmly, she gave Xiaozhou an ultimatum. If he didn't stop his bad habits, it would be better for them to part ways. That night, in anger and frustration, Xiaozhou agreed to her decision. With deep regret, their relationship officially ended that evening. That same day, Jianan met with Ding and revealed that she couldn't continue the charade any longer. Jianan felt that it was too painful to bear. During their conversation, Ding explained that Xiaozhou had suffered severe brain trauma and hallucinations from past events. According to the doctors, the only way to help Xiaozhou recover was to rekindle meaningful memories from his life. Jianan admitted that her efforts had indeed improved Xiaozhou's condition. However, the fact that Xiaozhou couldn't remember her at all left her deeply hurt. Feelings she thought had long disappeared suddenly resurfaced. Even though they hadn't seen each other for 3 years, Jianyan's love for Xiaozhou returned, making her fall for him all over again. Jianan feared that everything might end the same way as before. Hearing this, Ding empathized with her emotions and expressed gratitude for everything Jianan had done to help Xiaozhou so far. On the same night, Jianan attended the launch event for a new flavor from her favorite snack brand. As a YouTuber with a massive fan base, her presence was highly anticipated. However, at the same time, Xiaozhou couldn't bear the thought of losing Jianan again. Fortunately, Heian informed Xiaozhou that Jianan hadn't left China yet and was currently at an event in the city center. Without hesitation, Xiaozhou rushed to the event venue. When he arrived, Xiaozhou discovered that Jianan had already left. Refusing to give up, Xiaozhou tried every possible way to let Jianan know he was looking for her. Finally, with a voice so distinct that Jianan could never forget, Xiaozhou called out her name with deep emotion. Hearing the familiar call, Jianan couldn't hold back her tears. At that moment, Xiaozhou confessed that he had remembered everything, their memories, his mistakes, and his immense love for Jianan. Their eyes met, filled with honesty and hope. Xiaozhou then revealed that he had quit smoking for her sake. Hearing his heartfelt confession, Jianan moved closer, tears of joy streaming down her face, and thanked Xiaozhou for all the effort he had made. She also expressed her gratitude for his determination to become a better person. With deep emotion, Jianan pleaded for their feelings to remain intact, admitting that she had fallen in love with Xiaozhou all over again. Jianan hoped that this time, they would never have to part again. Moral lesson from the story: don't let a friend with bad ideas talk you into strange therapies, or you might end up seeing ducks instead of humans. And if your ex somehow fixes your life, maybe it's time to rethink who's really quacking crazy.